Hello everybody, my name is Ryan. Welcome back to the channel. I've been really looking forward to doing this blind. I've had this plan for a while now, and today I'm finally diving into it. So basically what I told my wife was American Single Malts, okay? American Single Malts with one condition. One of them has to be this. So we did the Flaviar Advent Calendar, we did some live streaming with it this year just for fun, and one of the whiskeys that came in this was an American Single Malt from Yellowstone that when I tasted it blind in the live stream, I compared it to an old sock that got left in a gym locker after profusely sweating into it. And it got left there for weeks. That's what I likened it to. I was very unkind to this whiskey. So then the question is, how will it fare in a blind against other American Single Malts? Will I be consistent? Will I hate it just as much tonight, not knowing where it is? So that should be fun. I'm really looking forward to doing this. Now, I do have some pretty banger American Single Malts up there on my shelves, and I've got them all piled up over here. Well, most of them are just piled up over here. I took out some of the really heavily finished ones that I might immediately recognize, like Westward's Stout Beer Barrel finished American Single Malt. I didn't want that one to be in there because if I tasted it, I would immediately know what it was. So I've got all the ones that were eligible piled up over here in a corner, so I can just grab them if at the end I reveal. My wife poured all these, and then under the coasters are little pieces of paper that say what they are. So we'll reveal them after we rank them. And the question is, will the Yellowstone American Single Malt finish dead last? Because I'm going to be honest with you up front, I don't think there's a snowball's chance in heck that thing outperforms some of the American Single Malts I got on my shelf. But we shall see. So I'm going to go left to right. So this will be glass number 1, and we'll work our way down. Let me get my notepad here, because I am an extremely forgetful person, so I have to take notes as I go, or else I will forget what I've tasted and how I've ranked things. So I will put on screen for you guys when I edit the video what I'm tasting when I'm tasting them. So you'll know, but I won't know. Sound good? I'm going to label these A, B, C, and D, starting with A, and let's get right into it. The nose gives me a little bit of apple, like a yellow apple, not a green tart apple. A little bit of bran cereal, I guess. I'll say a smidgen of honey in there as well. And there's almost like a pungent sort of a marker note on the nose as well. Let's try it. Okay, I'm gonna keep it real. For my palate tonight, I don't want to pull any punches. Given I'm not sure where the bad one is, the one that I said was some gym sock nastiness. But I will say, I do not like this on first sip of the night. Maybe tomorrow night, I will like it. Maybe after I come back to it, after I've had some other sips, my palate sort of acclimates to American Single Malts tonight, and I come back to it, maybe I will like it. Right now, this tastes musty, vinegary. I gotta go in for another one. Grapes that went bad. I don't know if acclimating my palate can redeem. That is nasty. I think we're coming out of the gate with the bad one. I'm gonna go ahead and guess right now as a bad one. Moving on to number 2. Glass B. I need to be consistent. Moving on to B. Oh, thank God. Oh yeah. Milk chocolate, cocoa powder, espresso beans. It's like a mocha latte on the nose. I'm going to keep it real again. My goal here is not to guess what each and every one of these are. But on the nose, this profile here is very much making me think of Redwood Empire Foggy Burl, the new small lot single malt from Redwood Empire. Because I got really rich milk chocolates and coffee notes, like a mocha latte on that one every time I've had it so far. And on the nose, it's what it's screaming to me. So I'm gonna try it now, and we'll see if I'm right. Come on, what a breath of fresh air after the one we just tried. Freaking A, man, that thing was terrible. Listen, I'm only taking one note. I wrote down Burl right there, Burl, because I think that's what that is. If I'm wrong, I won't post the video. But that's delicious. It has this wonderful mouthfeel to it as well that makes me think of a mocha latte, right? It's got the thick, chocolatey kind of a note to it. It's not thin and watery. Wonderful finish. The finish leans more towards the espresso notes than the mocha notes. The mocha, the chocolate, I get all that, the cocoa powder right up front. Eventually, the chocolate walks out the door and just leaves you and the espresso hanging out one-on-one. It's not an overly complex sip. I'm not going to lie to you guys and say I pull like a ton of different flavors out of the Foggy Pearl. I don't. I literally get chocolate and coffee every time. And it's really, really tasty. It's simple, but really good. I'm saying all that under the assumption that I know what it is. If I'm wrong, it'll be embarrassing. Let's move on to C. Oh, yeah. Oh, that smells great. Slivered almonds, raisin bran cereal. This is because I got the fruitiness of the raisin and the bran cereal notes as well. The nose on this reminds me of the way my kitchen would smell when I used to do all grain home brewing. You know, I'd go out and I'd buy my own malted grains and I'd mash right on the grains. I didn't do extract brewing, but I did all the brewing, from scratch in a mash tun that I built by hand in my kitchen. My wife hated it because it would smell up the whole house. But that sweet maltiness, that's where I go on the nose of this. Reminds me of home brewing. Love that. Let's try it. I mean, there's nothing fancy about that. It just tastes like a traditional American single malt. Like a fastball right down the middle. No curveball, no knuckleball, no slider. Not doing anything fancy here. This is a fastball right down the middle. A little bit of honey, some sweet cereals, notes of dried fruits, trail mix, and a little bit of that sort of like charred barley, that charred maltiness. Dare I? I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to guess it. Man, I always feel like if I guess, because I know my own bottles pretty well at this point, admittedly. But I feel like anytime I guess, if I get them all right, I'm always like super nervous that people aren't going to trust me. Like I always feel like people are going to be like, you liar, you cheated. I don't know why I get so paranoid about that. I shouldn't doubt you guys. That being said, I think I am going to take a swing at this. This to me says Westward American Single Malt. I've got 4 of their bottles, and so I'm pretty familiar with their distillate. So this isn't like a swing in the dark, you know what I mean? I've got 4 of their bottles. This to me tastes like American Pacific Northwest Westward distillate. So I'm gonna guess that's what that is. The fastball Westward. Let's move on to D. I did say I kept some of the Westwards out. Like you can see 2 of them on the shelf back here. Like the Pinot Noir cask finish, I felt like the fruitiness I get on that is so front and center. I feel like I would know right away. So I didn't want to tarnish the blind with something that had a really strong fruit note that would throw it off. Nose on this one. Shoot. The nose on this one is reading very similar. And then I'm like, crap. Did I get it wrong? Is this one the Westward? Nose on this one, I'm getting like there's a tropical note. It smells like similar to the Westward, but less chocolate malty, burnt barley notes, and more like tropical fruit, like peaches, mangoes. Why would I be getting that on American Single Malt? Yeah, it's like peaches and cream on the nose. If I go 4 for 4, I want you guys to know I did not cheat. I want to make it perfectly clear. My wife can verify. It's different when I know the theme, right? So I did a blind with where we had one of the Patreon members. We did a raffle. One of the Patreon members won the raffle. I sent them the full list of my entire inventory here, including sample bottles that I had never tried before. And the Patreon member then selected 4 bottles for me to blind that night. And I was pretty happy with the rankings of those. Nothing too surprising. But I didn't know the theme, right? I didn't know the theme. And obviously, I have a lot more bourbon on the shelf than I have American Single Malts. So for me to go 4 for 4 tonight is a lot easier than that blind was. And that one wasn't about like trying to identify which ones they were. It was about just tasting and ranking them. But I did identify one of them successfully out of all my bourbons. I was like, I know which one that one is. It was the, I think it was the vermouth finished Eastern Kill bourbon. So you can see why that one would stand out enough, right? That's a peculiar bourbon. But anyways, all that to say, I'm going to try and go 4 for 4 tonight. I think on the nose alone, well, let me taste it and then I'll tell you. Yeah. I think I know what that is. Something that grew on me over time. I don't love it, but I didn't care for it too much the first time I tried it. It grew on me a little bit though. And now I'm like, that's not bad. But I think that is the Westland, not Westward, Westland, which is another Pacific Northwest distillery as well. But I think that's Westland's American Single Malt, and the only bottle of theirs I currently have is, well, I've got the whole stack here. Here it is. I think it's this one. This is the only thing from them I have right now. Westland Single Cask American Single Malt Whiskey, finished in Jurançon casks. That is why I think I'm getting tropical notes. That's why I think I'm getting tropical notes, because the Jurançon is like a French wine that lends itself to really fruity tropical flavors. So I think that's why. So I think that is the Westland. So again, I think this is the poo-poo platter du jour, Dirty Jim Sock whiskey from Yellowstone. And I apologize. I do not mean any offense to the folks at Yellowstone. But that is genuinely, in my opinion, a terrible whiskey. Maybe I got a bad sample. I mean, this is the only sample I've ever had. I've never had like another bottle. Obviously, I tried the sample and I was like, I'm never going to buy a bottle. So maybe I just got a bad pour. There's a chance. But it's awful. It's genuinely terrible. I think that's what that is. And then 2, we said that's the Foggy Burrow, baby, from Redwood Empire. Boom. Westward American Single Malt here. And then this one I think is Westland, the Jurançon Single Cask. Yeah. So now I got to rank them for you. And I got to be 100% honest here. I thought that if the Burl was in a blind with the single malts, I assumed it would take the cake, right? Because I really do like the Redwood Empire Foggy Burl. But I think for my palate tonight, Glass C was just hitting the right notes. Just that fastball. Nothing crazy, nothing fancy. Maybe it's just the mood I'm in tonight. I'm not vibing with the off-the-wall crazy profiles or anything like that. Not that the Burl is, but it is a little bit untraditional in some ways. But I think I'm going to give that second place. And so first place is going to go to, first place right here, Glass C. Followed by what I think is the Burl in second place, Glass B. Followed by what I think is Westland, which is Glass D in third place. And dead last, I think it's the Yellowstone Dirty Sock in the locker. Now, I'm feeling fairly confident here. Because like I said, I don't have a ton of American Single Malts. So I think I'm going 4 for 4 here, because I know my bottles pretty well. So I'm going to tell you right now, let's reveal them. Yellowstone, let's see. It says sample vial, which she wrote because it came in this. That's the Yellowstone. Trash! I'm going to dump the rest of that out. The only reason I kept it is because I wanted to put it in a blind sometime and to see if it was just a bad night. It wasn't a bad night. It was a bad whiskey. That's what it was. I think that is garbage. But dead last place. Yep. So let me write these down. Sorry, Yellowstone, but I think you got to go back to the drawing board because that is hot garbage. Okay, Glass D took third place. I said this was Westland. Let's see. It is Westland. This one right here. Boom! Not bad stuff. I think they do some really good finished American Single Malts. I don't think this one hits as well as I was hoping it would when I bought it. It's not bad, though. I like those tropical notes. So we're 2 for 2. I'm going to tell you right now, there's no way we got the Burl wrong. It's too spot on for it to not be Burl. Let's see. It says Redwood Empire, which is here. Redwood Empire. Foggy Burl, baby. What a great pour. That's a great pour right there. Okay, first place. Now, I suppose there's a chance if there was any one of them I was going to get wrong. Obviously, the tropical notes gave the Westland away, with it being the Jurançon cask finish. The Foggy Burl's profile gave it away. This one being, it just tastes like ass. So I knew that was the bad one. So if there were any of them I was going to get wrong, it would be this one. So let's check it. I said Westward, American Single Malt. First place goes to Westward. Boom. We got them all. 4 for friggin' 4, baby. That's you. Right there, Westward. American Single Malt. You can find this most places nowadays. Like, they're getting around. So you want a good, just straight fastball right down the middle, American Single Malt, boom. If you want something that's going to be a little more timid, nice chocolate, mocha, latte, go with the Redwood. Both phenomenal bottles. Highly recommend. And there you have it. That is the blind. Hey, I really enjoyed that because these are great pours. Some of them, most of them, 3 out of 4 of them. But I was worried that maybe I would be completely inconsistent and I would actually get down with the Yellowstone this time around. I would actually like it. You can't pay me to finish that. That's getting dumped out right away. That stuff is dog water. But happy to see Westward and Redwood Empire performing very well tonight. I like these things quite a bit. Hey, you guys should do the same thing sometime. Do, just have whoever your partner might be, or if you have a roommate, something like that, a friend that's over, just say, hey, I want to test my palate out a little bit. Pour me a blind. And you can give them some parameters. Say, obviously, don't throw in the Bookers. That's going to give itself away right away when it blows my face off. Stuff like that. But just say, American Single Malts, bourbons, ryes. Give them some parameters. Test your palate a little bit. See how it goes. It's a lot of fun. One of the ways that I sort of keep my palate in check, and this is something that there's a channel I like to watch, Father-Son Combo, Kurt and Trenton over at SLB Basement Bourbon Bars. And they're great. Love watching their content, watch everything they post. But Kurt, one time, he said, what I like to do is, because he has a crazy collection of bourbon. His house is full of bourbon. He's like, what I do is I just do like a little ½ ounce here and a ½ ounce there throughout the night. Instead of doing like one big pour for the night, he'll split up the same amount you would have in a full pour. He'd split it up between 4 different bottles that night. Do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And it's the practice of comparison that really trains your palate. And you're like, oh, well, now I really understand my bottle of Old Forester 1920 a lot better now that I have had it in comparison to other things multiple times. And with every bottle you do that with, when you stack it up to other things, the thing that makes that one unique stands out much more because you have a backdrop to compare it to. You got a point of reference. And when you give your palate a point of reference, that's when you really start to understand what different bottles can bring to the table. So I do that as well. Most of the time I don't have a full pour of anything these days, unless I'm out or, it's a special occasion. But normally I just have some sips of this and some sips of that. What would be one full pour for the night, or maybe it's a weekend and I was going to have 2 pours. I'll split it up between different bottles. Keep my palate in check. Well, hey, thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please feel free to leave a like on the video. It's just the best free way to support my content here on YouTube. And our Discord's bumping. Everyone's chatting in there. It's been a really good vibe lately. We've got, well over 100 people in there now, which is super cool. So appreciate all of you guys who are in there. We got a great community. If you want to get involved, go ahead and hit the link in the Discord, or to the Discord in the description of this video. It's totally free to join. And a big shout out to my Patreon supporters. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Thanks for supporting the channel and funding the bottles that we get to pick up and review here on the channel. We'll grab the Westward and say cheers, my friends. May you live richly and get better with age. And I hope to catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.